Jim, I was just curious about the prop trading because I always wanted to actually do prop trading. I was on the institutional equity sales and trading desk and also did equity research prior to that. And basically, prop trading for anybody is you're essentially trading the firm's capital to make them money. And I just think that's such a fascinating place to be because you've got all the resources within the company. So that would be interesting if it's really brought back the way it was. People have different views on that, but Jim, let's switch it to the Canadian focus right now. Obviously, our Canadian elections were about a week and a half away or behind us now. How do you feel about the spending that Prime Minister Carney has already said he's going to implement? Where do we get the money from? How do we invest in Canada right now? I don't know that I see the growth, and I'm not even sure what is interesting to me. And I've been in this for a long time.
So I think the interesting thing about Prime Minister Carney is that he's moving to the center. One, I think he's going to cut a deal with Alberta and Saskatchewan. Two, I think that's going to be just some inside poker. When Reagan and Mulroney were negotiating the free trade agreement, the reason why Reagan signed the free trade agreement is they wanted a continental natural resources plan. And what we got back in return, because remember that eliminated the branch plant economy, what we got back in return is we got some manufacturing and cars, some steel, whatever. So what's going to happen? And so that clause, it's called the proportionality clause, was not renewed in the last free trade agreement. I don't know why. So I think what's going on right now is that the Americans want a continental energy plan like President Reagan had negotiated. I don't know why it slipped through the cracks. And that's going to be Carney's bargaining card. He's going to basically say, we're going to basically go back to the old agreement that Reagan and Mulroney signed, and we're going to be able to get some quid pro quo for that. Okay, so that would, to me, long term, that there's going to be a boom in Alberta, an absolute boom in Alberta, and it's going to be a boom in mining, right? We are going to develop the Ring of Fire, right? And Newfoundland is going to develop the offshore LNG field. So that's positive, but that's long dated, right? And so it's going to be very interesting to see how it manifests itself going forward. But I do think there's deals on the table. I think the surprise is going to be for most people is that Carney's going to go back to the center. And, with regard to spending, what I would say to you, the proof is in the pudding. Deficit spending, as long as it increases the efficiency of the economy, is okay. Deficit spending, what Trudeau did, which was just basic transfer payments, is a no-go. So it really comes down to how he spends the money and what does he focus that on.
Right. The problem, though, of course, is that Carney was Trudeau's economic advisor for his last 5 years. So the concern that I think a lot of people have is the deficit spending did not increase growth in Canada. The growth in Canada has been like 0.2% for the past 10 years. We've gone from, top 10 in the world to around 30th. So, there's evidence that we should be concerned. Having said that, because we don't have much time left, where do you invest in Canada right now? Where do you feel it's prudent, safe? I don't know if that's the card you're playing, safety, preservation of capital. How do you play the Canadian market?
I think the pipelines look good right here in Canada. I think if you want to go buy the Canadian banks for their dividends, they'll be fine. I just don't, gold in Canada will be fine, right? I mean, gold is along with Bitcoin, is going to be, a very interesting place to be. So there are pockets, but I agree with you, and you can't discount what you said, right? If we get a whiff that Carney is going to implement another Trudeau type policy, just sell Canada with extreme prejudice. Like the dollar is going to go below 65 cents. It's just not going to be good. And so let's give him the benefit of the doubt, but have the finger on the trigger to get the heck out of Canada.
So do you keep a lot of cash then?
No, I invest. I think the United States is the place to be and get, reduce your exposure.
Sorry,
the average. Go ahead.
If you have Canadian dollars, I mean, it's hard to put money to work.
Right. It is. But this structural adjustment that we have to go through. We have to go through it. So let's figure out how we're going to do it. And my suggestion is get the heck out of Canada and get into the United States. And once you do that and you hedge your portfolio, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Okay. Jim, we got to leave it there. Thank you, as always, for your great insight and out of consensus views. You're not afraid to say that. Ever.
Thank you. Take care.